from Elena BORIN. Elena BORIN is from Italy originally. She is associate professor for the Link Campus University in Rome, Italy, and member of CERME, so Research Center in Management, Economics, and Local Development. And she was, before that, she basically set a Master of Sciences program in Dijon in Arts and Cultural Management, and she was coordinator of the research team in Arts and Cultural Management in the Burgundy School of Business in Dijon, where I was able also to be part on this experience, and which was really a successful thing to do, and still, of course, going on there. She also PhD in economics from the University of Ferrara on the topic basically about public and private-public partnership in cultural issues, and she was awarded the title of Dr. Europeus, European Doctor by International Jury Member for this doctoral research. As you can see by yourself, she's board member and secretary of ENCAT also, and she has a very wide range that's in the last heading there's on the slide about different theme and topic she's working at.
Thank you, Christian, and I would really like to thank Joke and Ege for these wonderful presentations. I really feel moved also to see your passion in carrying out your activities, investing your time, energy, and money also in this activity. It is also a very important component. And my presentation is really also a reflection on how we can make these things visible, because what we need to make is really to make this thing in practice, so to carry out these activities, but also to make them visible, to report on them, to make people aware of what culture is doing. And I think it's also an important part of sustainability in culture and creativity. As I was saying, as Christian was saying, my presentation is about culture for sustainability and sustainability for culture. And I will just like to start by pointing out what has been already pointed out by the previous presentation. That is that culture is maybe not included as an official pillar of sustainable development. We are still sticking to this triple helix model, but there have been a lot of campaigns to really underline the role that culture is played in sustainable development. I don't want to spend too much time on that because it has already been done previously, but just to sum up some of the main events related to these campaigns, to this advocacy work that has been done. I just want to remind you to the 2010 UCLG policy statement, culture is a fourth pillar of sustainable development, but also on the work done by the Asia-Europe Foundation, again in 2010, about sustainable creative cities, the role of arts in the globalized urban context. In 2015, there was an important report with this Cultural Heritage Counts for Europe. I know, Christian, you were also involved in this report, and so it was really a report reflecting on cultural heritage in terms of sustainable development. And of course, the debate continued. In 2019, we have a UN General Assembly and UNESCO working on this assembly and carrying out a high-level debate on culture and sustainable development. There is, in 2020, an important report by the British Council, Culture of the Missing Pillar, in which connections are created between culture and the different goals of sustainable development. And also there is a lot of research that has been carried out on the link between sustainability and culture and creativity. Different types of research. There is one strand of research that I really like, which is the one connecting culture and creativity in practice, and as demonstrating basically that culture and creativity, the access to culture and creativity has a positive impact on sustainability-oriented individual behaviors. That means that if you're exposed to culture and creativity, Also, your individual behavior in terms of waste management, in terms of social orientation, is increased, is enhanced. So culture is really something that has been entering the debate on sustainability quite heavily over the last 2 decades. And I think there has been an acceleration of this, especially during the last 2-3 years. We had the European Green Deal that doesn't talk specifically about culture, but includes a lot of reflection on culture and creativity. In 2020 it was the year in which the new European Bauhaus was launched, now implemented in 2021, and of course now we are in 2022, so it's already been accepted and it's already been launched. And also we saw that in last November there was the COP26 in Glasgow, and also there we saw that there was still a substantial absence of artists the table of the conference, but there were roundtables reflecting on the contribution of this sector to sustainable development. And there was one particular session that I really liked, which was entitled, "How Can Art and Culture Accelerate a Just Transition?" So it was promoted by an association founded by a famous artist, Anish Kapoor, the role of artist, creator, and environmentalist on the topic of transitions through art and culture as accelerators. So this is, in my opinion, something that is accepted, established. Maybe it needs to be, we're still a long way to go, as Ege said, but it's something that is more and more recognized, in my opinion, in the sustainability paradigm. What I think it's still a little bit missing is really the part in which we make these sustainability practices with all the cultural and creative industries by themselves. So the small ones, the different associations, the different agencies, the different industries that are operating in the cultural and creative sector, the entrepreneurs that are operating in the creative sectors, what they are doing individually as entrepreneurs, as agencies, as associations, in terms of sustainability, in my opinion, is still not so much visible. So we know about the general impact, we know about the importance of culture in general, we know that there are many organizations and associations working on that and having an impact on the sustainability development, on sustainable development. But still, in my opinion, we have some work to do in terms of reporting all these efforts, making them visible, making them also relevant in terms of data for policy action and policy implementation. And this is something that people, governments, advocacy groups have been tried to deal with, especially over the last, I think, 5 years. And there have been several efforts in terms of macro level. I just want to mention here the case of the UK. So the environmental responsibility is one of the 4 investment principles of the Arts Council England 2030 strategy. So the Arts Council England developed a strategy of development in which the environmental responsibility is highlighted, and they are also setting guidelines on how to draw an environmental or a sustainability report highlighting the impact that the different organizations are having on in society. So the Arts Council England is trying to fill this gap by giving guidelines on how to implement this reporting for cultural and creative organizations. And another initiative that I would like to mention is also the initiative by Julie's Bicycle. So Julie's Bicycle, you probably know, it's a very famous organization located in London, so again in the UK. And they are working on, they are trying to connect culture and creativity with sustainability. And in 2020, they elaborated a framework for environmental actions for museums that is highlighting not just the traditional impact on societal sustainability, but also the environmental impact that these museums are having. And so these sustainability practices are really highlighted in this framework drawn by Julius Bicycle or Arts Council England. And I put in this slide also the links to these reports and to these frameworks. And I invite you really to have a look at them, because as you will see, they speak about environmental framework, museum environmental framework, but still there is a high presence of all the aspects that have been highlighted also in the previous presentations. So how culture and creativity are working on having a positive impact, for example, on social aspects of sustainability, or also on economic aspects, bringing positive results in terms of economic developments of the different communities. And then in an even more specific level, this sustainability reporting is becoming a practice also in different cultural and creative industries and organizations. So I'm talking really about the micro level. So how these organizations are trying to report about their practice in their annual reports. So we have several examples from basically all sectors. There is a theater green book initiative that has been launched to underline the sustainability practices in live production and theater production and contemporary music production. But also there are programs, for example, in terms of enhancing and valorizing and awarding these practices, for example, with the Fringe Sustainable Practice Award. And then some museums and some cultural institutions have created specific sustainability reports in their annual reports, incorporating them in their annual reports. And these are, in my opinion, particularly interesting, because we can maybe take some of these examples, have a look at these examples. They really incorporate the different dimensions of sustainability, and they reflect on how the cultural and creative organization, in the case of these examples of the museums, are really having an impact and what type of impact they are having. I put here two examples. The sustainability report of the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum, that is a very famous Spanish museum. It's a report that was created for the strategy of starting from 2020 and for the following years. And it's a sustainability report that commits to the 2030 agenda. And of course, it highlights the sustainability practices of a museum in terms of economic, social, and environmental sustainability. The Istituto Valenciano de Arte Moderna, which is another institute of contemporary art in Spain, also has drawn a multi-annual sustainability plan. And again, here we see the same approach. So strategic lines that are showing how this sustainability is implemented in the common practices of the museum. We can have maybe a look at one of them. I don't know if you can have a look at it. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So this is the EVAM sustainability plan. So as you can see, there is sustainability as defined as concept, and then with different characterization, okay, related to different parts of the sustainability values, thematics of sustainability that are related really also to the different aspects of sustainability. It's in Spanish, but of course it's related to environmental sustainability, but also sustainability purchasing, links to the local communities, and also governance and ethical governance inside the museum. The second example that I would like to get is the one related to the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum. Okay, so they made a sustainability report. This is again activity sustainability report. So there is a part which is related really to the activities, and the part which is more related to sustainability issues. And in the sustainability issues, again, we see that there is a relevance of the different dimensions, the traditional ones, economic dimensions, societal dimensions, and environmental dimensions. But there is also a great focus on governance and people. So going back to what we were saying, the important point of my presentation is related to the fact that culture, creativity, and sustainable development has already been linked by several initiatives at the macro level, at the global level. And this is something we still need to work on, something that is still maybe not accepted completely and incorporated completely in the sustainable development initiatives. But what we need also to work on is to make more visible, more accountable, more really also reported all the initiatives that we are carrying out at the local and individual level, at the micro level. So we need really to work and reflect on how we can make these sustainability practices and this sustainability orientation and impact visible in reporting, such as to make people understand and to make us accountable of how these practices of sustainability are embedded in culture and creative industries. So that's it for my part. So
thank you, Elena, for again a very interesting presentation. We should have more time to go, and we really will go into all the different examples which show this is amazing how the cultural sector itself is taking into consideration not just these SDGs or sustainability as a context, but integrate that. That makes me think about the profitable sector you see, or maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago, when they started also to integrate basically the sustainability, sometimes making greenwashing, not thinking about that, but taking for most of them really the sustainability in their way of working and something. And these examples seems to be very inspiring about not just doing that because it's new technologies. Also, it's a virtual thing. It's new ways to present exhibitions, or to make the museum you see more accessible and so on. But it's really about a final objective of sustainability that brings the multi objectives that we have all in mind. So thank you for reminding them and bringing these optimistic issues.